Hi, I'm David Neese with EV World News, and I'm here today with Bill Moore. We're here to talk today about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. How's it going today, Bill?
Going pretty good, thank you.
Well, let's get into it. We got something interesting today, and this is coming from a U.S. manufacturer for a change that doesn't start with a T. And so it always seems like all the news on EVs is from the US is basically one company or what the other companies why they're failing. Here's one that's got something that we really hope turns into a winner. I'm a big fan of the Dodge Ram pickup trucks, and for 2025 the Ram Charger is an electric truck that gets its EV juice from a gas-powered generator. So, I immediately when I hear that, I think BMW i3 and
Sort of, yeah.
a little bit in a better way. And let's see, don't call it a plug-in hybrid or a gas-powered vehicle either. The Stellantis brand Ram wants the 2025 Ram 1500 Ram Charger to be viewed as a battery electric truck. It has a 92 kilowatt hour battery pack with 145 miles of range. That tells me it's pretty heavy because that's not even 2 miles per kilowatt hour.
Right.
Okay. And I'm going to try to start saying kilowatt hour because I've had some people complain that I get my terms messed
Well,
up.
that's easy to do. I've done this 25 years and I'm still confused at times, so don't feel bad. Yeah, what's interesting here, the first thing that struck me, of course, was the reference to it as an electric vehicle, which it's no more electric vehicle than a locomotive is. You know, all those UP trains that come through
Mhm.
Omaha every half hour.
Right.
Um, that's how they work. You've got a big, diesel engine in those. In this case, of course, it'll be a gasoline. But in the locomotive, you got a big diesel generator that spins and generates electricity, and the electricity then goes to the wheels, to electric motor, and that's what propels it. And the same thing here. Now, what's interesting is that comment you made there where they say, don't call it a hybrid, right? The interesting thing is that this is exactly the same wording that came out of General Motors 20 or 12 years ago when they
Mhm.
introduced the Volt, because they did not like us referring to it as a hybrid, because the competitor, of course, was the Prius, and to a lesser extent the Honda Insight. But they wanted to make sure this is not a hybrid. This is an extended range electric vehicle, which, of course, by that they mean it actually, the engine runs on gasoline, and that turns a generator, and the generator powers the electric motors, and yada yada yada. So it's got a big enough gasoline engine or gasoline tank. It doesn't. I didn't see any numbers on that, but there's a big enough gasoline tank to take this thing almost 700 miles, which is pretty darn good. But
Yeah, that
most of
that's
that, of
all.
course, will be operating as a hybrid. So
So my friends in the construction industry, when I talk to them about electric trucks, their big thing is payload and towing.
mhm.
Okay. And towing, like on the F-150 Lightning, has been a big non-starter. And this has been an issue in that 300-mile range on the F-150 goes to about 80 when you start towing. And so it's a real, problem when all of a sudden you can't get stuff back and forth to a job site because when you're taking stuff out to a job site for construction, you may be going 40 miles there and 40 miles back.
Right.
And it can be, you don't want to be worried that you're going to run out of juice,
Well, yeah, this
between
is
here and there.
for what that truck was designed as. And I guess they're going to have basically three different models of this, depending on what segment of the truck market they're looking at. Everything from kind of a luxury version down to sort of a standard, job site version. And I think it's, I congratulate them for taking this approach. It's not going to be as good as an electric, but at the same time, it's got a job to do and a mission to complete. And if this, I would suspect most of the driving, probably around town, that people will be doing will be in electric mode. The rest of the time, if they've got to haul a Bobcat to a job site somewhere, or haul their recreational trailer, on vacation to Arizona, this would be the perfect solution for them. So that's I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with that.
Let's see what it's got here. So it's got a 3.6 liter V6 engine with a 130 kilowatt generator.
Yep.
And as you said, a 690-mile targeted range. Let's see. In terms of performance, it's able to go 0 to 60 in 4.4, which is really
4.4
fast.
seconds. Yeah, that'll
Really
beat my
fast.
little Fiat.
Yeah. 663 horsepower, 615 foot-pound of torque. And it had 14,000 pounds of towing capacity with a Class 5 hitch and a max payload of 2,600 pounds. That's pretty big. They haven't shared pricing information. Customers can also plug in and charge the battery if they desire. According to the company, a 400-volt DC fast charger can add 50 miles of range in 10 minutes. Bidirectional charging, which so they can plug in
Right.
their tools,
Yep.
um, use it, charge it at home, or send power to a home, campsite, or tools.
Yep.
Onboard power panel provides 7.2 kilowatts of power in the truck bed. Let's see. Ram CEO Tim Kuniskis said that it'll be a game changer for the battery electric truck. They aim for 100% of sales in Europe and 50% of sales in the US to be battery electric vehicles by the end of the decade. Now, basically, this is a plug-in hybrid, no matter how you
Yeah.
slice it, how the
Yeah.
Ram charger works. Let's just kind
Yeah.
of see what we get. The V6 engine generates mechanical power, sends it to the generator, which is mounted directly to the engine. The generator converts this to electric, can be used to charge the 92 kilowatt hour battery, or be applied to the two electric drive modules. Let's see.
Yeah.
Folks
So
call a
they've got
series
software
hybrid.
between.
And it shouldn't be confused with a parallel hybrid like the Prius, in which the gas engine
Right.
directly drives the wheels. So in this one, the gas engine drives the generator, which then drives
Exactly. It's
the
exactly
electric.
like the Chevrolet Volt.
Mhm.
Same concept.
Now, that's kind of interesting. So that was from an article by TechCrunch. Now we're going to look at one here. This is a nice looking picture of the Ram. The Dodge has nice styling. My favorite thing actually about styling and Dodge products or Stellantis products is the control setup. I like the controls in them. I've always liked Chrysler 300s and a few other vehicles as far as rental cars and Dodge
Hmm.
Ram trucks because they have the best control features. And in fact, I think Lamborghini has some of the same controls in some of theirs because it's done so well in the Dodge line. That's the one thing they've done real well. The one thing is, of all the vehicles I've ever had where something didn't work in a rental car, it was always a Chrysler product.
Well,
I really hate to say that, but
my big bugaboo with Chrysler products is that they just do not. If you look at, a Chrysler product gets about 4 or 5 years old and it always is rusted around the wheel wells. I just don't know why they can't seem to solve that problem, but it seems like every Chrysler product that I drive past that has some age on it, obviously not new ones, they have a problem where they've rusted through at the now that's a factor, of course, living in Nebraska, and
right.
salt on our roads, but you know I
Well,
wish they could come up with a way to solve that.
it was interesting, this Forbes article, they find it surprising until now no automaker has emulated the BMW's i3 optional range extender. A repurposed motorcycle engine
Yeah.
gave the funky i3 a gas-powered safety net when the battery ran low, but they dropped it in favor of a bigger battery in 2019.
Yep.
But it's back in the Ram. Let's see. I'm not so sure this article really adds much to the other discussion, but big heavy trucks need lots of energy, and towing is the most energy intense use of any vehicle.
Yeah.
Battery EVs are at their most efficient on city streets. Let's see. See if it really gives more information on towing. They do mention it's got BMW M3 like acceleration. It's I'm
Yeah, the
really
guys
kind
in
of
those trucks are going to
curious.
have fun.
They like to talk about the horsepower and all that, and then it can tow 14,000 pounds, but nobody really wants to talk about what kind of range
Yeah,
there
you're going to get
is.
with, well, that'll depend obviously on what you're hauling. So you're hauling an Airstream, it'll be different from hauling a Bobcat or a Ditch Witch or something on the back.
Now, here's something interesting. When the vehicle only has 145 miles of range remaining, that's when the generator kicks in. Otherwise, you stay in electric mode.
Yeah. And in
And
Chevrolet Volt's case, it was like 40 miles. So they've upped that considerably. But then again, obviously it's a 92, kilowatt hour battery pack. So that's going to cost you. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I bet this thing comes in. It's going to easily come in around 70 or 80,000 would be my
yeah.
guess.
Now, there's one of their luxury models, the limited and tungsten cabins.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I was hoping we'd get a little bit of information on their solution, but I'm expecting that with the addition of, you know, the gas power plant, that they've got some way to work around that issue. But, if it's got a 700-mile range, and even if it cut it down to 200 miles towing, that's still a lot better than the F-150.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
Well, yeah, we're still very early in the learning stage here. When you think about it, we're right now where the automotive industry would have been around 1920, because
right.
it's been about 20 years, since we started getting into this game seriously. And look where the automotive industry was in 1920. Henry Ford was still rolling out, Model Ts, and the Model A wouldn't come up for another, I think 6 years.
Right. Right. And I've looked through a couple of the other articles even to see if there is anything covering. They don't give any details about my concern about towing and working with it around a job site. But here was one that was kind of interesting. The 7 coolest features of the Ram 1500 EV that's coming up. And, a V6 with no connection to the wheels, multiple charging solutions,
Mm-hmm.
co-pilot digital display, ultra luxury front seats, Klipsch sound system, no need for a key, and hands-free driving. Now, this is kind of a big thing, especially for somebody that's a contractor. They've got people calling them all the time, people texting them all the time, and they can be very distracted. And so things that help a distracted driver, I think, are really going to be
Yeah.
top
Yeah.
features.
Yeah. Can
And
I make a suggestion
yes,
to the automotive industry as you move more into this automated autopilot kind of driving? I would like to see the federal government require that there is a light of some type, an indication that this car is in auto drive mode. And my suggestion a long time ago was that in the back of the car, there's a light above the rear window, or the rear window, that possibly is blue or green or some color other than red or white, that indicates that this car is in auto drive mode.
mhm,
Because of we're finding that the people that are most concerned about this whole shift to, the robo taxis and things like that, is the fact that they just don't trust, at this point, they just don't trust the cars to be, to be driving themselves. So as I personally, as a driver, I would like to know whether or not there's a person at the wheel that's actually controlling that vehicle, or whether it's software. If I'm going to pass them or get behind them, or whatever.
Well, then
I'm
you
not.
know what to expect from that vehicle too.
What's that?
Well, then you know what to expect from that vehicle too.
Yes,
If you're passing
exactly.
somebody, you know that you're going to go to pass them. They're not going to accelerate and be a jerk and speed up while you're trying to
Yeah.
pass them, or
So yeah.
different
So
things like
if
that.
the National Highway Traffic Safety Board is listening, please give thought to some kind of a rule that requires, as we get more into this whole autopilot, autonomous driving, that you require the car makers to indicate when that car is in that mode, so that all the drivers around them know that that's what's happening. I think that'll
Right.
do a lot to boost the confidence.
I think it will as well. And let's talk about one other topic today. So, Toyota is up in arms about Tesla's Giga Casting. And this is kind of interesting because Tesla is talking about how they're going to make cars cheaper by, instead of having, I don't know, it was like 40 different parts
Yeah,
underneath, by
at
making it
least.
one.
Right.
And Toyota is not happy about this. Challenge lies in on the production line, where Tesla's groundbreaking gigacasting methodology is redefining the rules of the game. Toyota is making significant progress in solid state battery tech and heavily investing in the US EV market, yet it finds itself in a challenging position due to Tesla's innovative assembly process termed gigacasting. What's interesting is, we hear all these articles about how Toyota isn't interested in EVs. They're avoiding EVs. EVs aren't the future. Everything's going to
Right.
be hydrogen. It's going to be all this. But Toyota's putting, as the world's largest car maker, they're putting a lot into EV. They're doing a lot of
Yeah. What is
studies
it?
on solid
Eight
state
billion.
batteries.
Yeah, 8 billion for a battery plant here in the United States. So
Oh
yeah,
wow. Yep. Yeah. So they're really doing something. And it's very interesting that it would take somebody like Tesla, who isn't the car industry veteran, decided that they're going to do things a different
yeah.
way.
Well, just so I don't know if probably people listening to this already kind of have a sense for what giga casting is, but basically what that is they are looking to create. At this point, it's the rear assembly of the car, and now they're beginning to take a look at the front assembly of the car as all one unit, rather than multiple parts that are brought together and then go through this phalanx of robots that weld all that together. They taking what, probably several minutes at least, um, to instead just go into a press, pour molten aluminum in there, press it, to the casting size, pull it out, and that process, I think I remember, it takes less than a minute. So they could just, eliminate all that extra labor and parts and materials down to a process that just takes a minute. Put it in there, press it, pull it out, let it get cooled off, send it on down the line, and then start mating the wheels to it, and battery controllers for the front end, and all the things that have to happen later. But that first part is done in a minute's time, which would
It-
just revolutionize, not only revolutionize the process in terms of the speed of turning these cars out, but really cut the cost of the car. That's why, I think Tesla's probably saying, we can probably build a $25,000 electric car, which Elon says is probably going to take place in Berlin. So, where,
right.
by the way, they just gave the workers raises.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I saw that. We talked about that a little bit on the show yesterday about it looks like the Model 2 is going to enter production in Germany first.
Yeah,
They're talking about a 25,000 euro price point. And, leave it to Tesla to come up with something. Hopefully it'll be nice looking. Hopefully.
Yeah, there's all kinds of sketches out there of people conceptualizing, what it'll look like a hatchback, and you know, I think some of these guys who are out. Some of the designers, freelance designers, are out there hoping that it'll maybe inspire them to get hired by Tesla to work on it. So we'll see.
Oh, that'd be nice. I think that's a good way to look at things. The way Toyota builds cars has been considered the standard, but it's like shocking to think of what Tesla's proposing is likely to become the standard for producing EVs. Now, I'm wondering, is Giga Casting not practical on internal combustion cars? Maybe,
Oh,
maybe
sure.
that's this.
It can be applied to any automotive system. One of the questions which I think is interesting is that how do you repair once you get into a rear end collision? How when you've got the single cast unit, how do you repair that? And that's, I think, is still an open question. It's obviously stronger because it's one unit. But then again, our body shops prepared to take and what do they do? They have to order a whole new casting replacement, or can they just do like they do in a body shop and cut that piece out and weld in a new piece and go from there? I don't know. I don't know if they have an answer yet. I haven't seen anybody seriously discussing it at this point.
So here's something kind of interesting. This interesting statement that's not about the gigacast of it. Toyota aims to sell 3.5 million battery vehicles annually starting in 2030, but only 123,000 this year. So we're talking 6 years from now, they're planning on going from 123,000 EVs to 3.5 million EVs. Because they already sell that many. I guess they already
Right.
sell that many cars worldwide as it is. But they're planning on them all changing. So all this talk about Toyota is not doing this or Toyota's not doing that is a little bit
Well,
unfounded.
they backtracked on that. We're not going to go the high go. Excuse me. We're not going to go the electric car route. A couple of years ago, where they rolled out, what was it, 7 or 8 prototype EV model, pure EV models. So yeah,
Mhm.
they're working on it. But their bread and butter has been obviously gasoline. And I think, what did they do? They did the 10 millionth hybrid here maybe a month or two
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
So that's been the bread and butter of the company. And I drive one. My neighbor up the street drives one. You can't go. It used to be that seeing a hybrid was like seeing a Prius in Omaha, right?
Right.
And now you see them everywhere. So that's done them well, and you can see why they're a little reluctant. Of course, they still haven't gotten their mind settled on, do we go with hydrogen? Do we go with hybrid? Do we go with all battery electric? Occasionally, you'll see these stories that'll I think are clickbait about they've revolutionized this new engine, and this ammonia engine is going to do away with electrics. Well, so
Yeah.
so have they really decided on the direction they're going to go? It's probably still a little up in the air.
Well, their last true EV in the US was what? The Busy Forks?
I'm sorry.
Um, the Busy Forks. BZ4X or something like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
But people
yeah.
call it the Busy Forks.
Okay. That was a terrible name. Absolutely terrible. I mean, to
Like,
me, the
one of the
Myra, okay, I can see that, but what?
one-
Be what? So,
yeah,
yeah,
Busy Forks. Um, one of the complaints about EVs is supposedly all the good names have been taken and nobody knows what to name them. So, you know, it,
well, you
it
just
is
do like BMW, just throw an X and an I in front of
I
it, and
don't
you're
know.
good to
Yeah,
go.
right, right. It is kind of humorous how a lot of that has played out. It's like, well, we don't know what to name. Well, Mercedes and BMW figured it out a long time ago. They stopped giving the cars names. It
Yeah,
was Americans that
give
figured
them
every
just give
car
them
needed a
numbers. Yeah.
name, and we only have so many American Indian tribes we can name things after, or you know, I don't know. And now it's not socially acceptable to name anything after Indian tribes.
Yeah,
So
can you see a Toyota Blackfoot? You know,
right, yeah.
or Toyota Nez Perce, or they have a Cheyenne, Chevrolet Cheyenne, so they've done that.
In
Uh,
college, I played for the Fighting Sioux. Now they're the Fighting Hawks,
yeah,
and you know, Morningside University used to be the Chiefs, and forget what they are now. It's something worse. I remember when they were talking about renaming the Washington Redskins. Yeah, the big thing going around I like to always say was that the word Washington was offensive, and they should drop Washington. They keep the Redskins part.
yeah, they're what now? The Generals or what are they? For Nationals, right? The
I
Washington
don't even
Nationals,
know.
I think they are. Yeah.
That's terrible. I don't watch. I don't watch. I have friends in the NFL and I don't watch. Um, but that's you know that's the world we live in now. Anyways, well, good
Okay,
show today.
folks.
We've
There's
actually
plenty
kind of a
more
long show.
stories on evworld.com. 108 that I added just this morning. So have fun.
Nice. All right, Bill.